you always reference your love for Bruce Lee, and I think a lot of kids these days get into martial arts. They've probably never seen Enter the Dragon. What is it about Bruce Lee that's captivated you so much?
Because of the way his mind works, he would draw from things outside of martial arts to put things within martial arts into a better context. You know, his ability to apply philosophy to combat sports is something that most people don't do and still don't do. You can watch any of his movies really, but obviously Game of Death and Enter the Dragon are the two. Enter the Dragon because that was the movie he completed and that he was able to really put his philosophy into. And then Game of Death because, he says so much in that final fight scene. There are so many lessons for a martial artist in there. And, even to this day, like I've spent the last 2 days researching Makachev against Oliveira. And all the time I'm seeing things and there'll be something that he said in Enter the Dragon, which it will present itself in my mind and it will give me better clarity about his philosophy. Like it honestly is timeless. The things that he says, it's the same with Marcus Aurelius Meditations.
Mm.
Of course, it was written hundreds of years ago, but there's a core truth to everything that he's saying, which is transferable. Another reason why The Art of War has become a book so popular in the business world, when in actuality it was written about warfare. The transition from martial arts to daily life is not too difficult for me to do with most subjects. And Bruce Lee kind of had that in his mind. I mean, in the 60s, it's crazy to think. Like I just try and relate myself to how he was 32 when he died. I've just turned 40 and I'm still way, way behind where he was at. I can't imagine how he arrived at the thinking that he had in the 70s, while he was, in his 30s, late 20s, early 30s, with the lack of resources that we've got. I mean, imagine sitting the guy down in front of YouTube or UFC Fight Pass for a day. His mind would be absolutely blown. But his philosophies still ring true. The things that he talks about, Enter the Dragon, that first scene when he's walking along with the monk, when the time comes, I do not hit, it hits all by itself. I used to listen to that when before school in the morning. I'd have that tape playing over and over again every day. It'd get to the end of the week and I'd just rewind it and start it again on the Monday morning. And I've listened to those lines over and over again. And even now, sometimes they click in my head and I'm going, oh, okay, that's what he meant. That's what he meant. A fight is like a small play, but played seriously. If you take it too seriously, if you're too tense, you can't be playful. There's a lot to learn from the animal kingdom as well, which is where, the roots of Shaolin come back in, and watching animals train and play and kind of learn their martial craft without them even knowing what they're doing. I think a lot of people take training too seriously these days. And I think Bruce Lee was able to kind of hold on to it as a philosophical venture, as opposed to a kind of a hard-headed, we're going to fight and see who's the toughest.